Welcome, everyone. My name is Garrett Johnson, and I'm the U.S. Country Manager, and it's my opportunity to come to you today a little bit out of breath as I came running in, but I am so excited about the opportunity to come today to be part of our September webinar to talk about how to build your business here at LifeWave. And we've got some amazing topics we're going to discuss today that really are going to make a difference in how we build a team, but also how do we go about doing the things that are necessary to be able to keep retention in the team. And one of the topics, the main topic we're going to talk about today is one of those things that really will help to build the retention so people don't want to just come into LifeWave, but they want to stay with LifeWave. It is my opportunity to bring on one of our amazing senior presidential directors. In fact, probably one of our newer senior presidential directors. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But also, as we kind of understand about the topic we're going to talk about today, it really is important to understand where people are at and then helping them to get where they want to be. So I want to welcome you on, Mary Lou. Certainly thrilled that you're willing to come on and jump on with us today. It sounds like you've had some excitement with you and your daughter coming up on a trip today, but so glad that you're able to be with us and know that you're going to be able to provide a lot of great feedback for the team.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, actually.
Well, so today we also are going to be coming into our convention, and there's so much exciting things that's going to be coming up at our convention coming up on October 12th through the 14th. And so as we have our event that we're all building towards, it gives us an opportunity to kind of take a look back and say, what was my first convention like? Or what was my first experience at this? Now, Mary Lou, have you been with another network marketing company before where you went to a convention?
Yes, I have. I have been with another one previous to this one.
So what that experience, you don't have to necessarily talk about the company, but what was that experience like the first time you kind of went to one of these events and had a chance to kind of see what it was all about?
Well, sometimes it can be overwhelming. It's like, because you have everybody there and the community is just amazing. That's one of my favorite things about convention is getting the community of, we're all kind of like-minded people and just, feeding off each other, getting, introducing each other to each other and mingling and just the feeling of, I think the community is really big for convention. I think they see the whole big picture when you go to convention. It's something different when you go live. So I know we have virtual now as well, which we didn't used to have, but I think the live is just so incredible. Just to, go belly to belly with people and have great conversations. And that's what I love about the convention. There's so many different aspects of convention, though. We know there's that. There's, of course, we're all waiting to hear what David has to say. That's really, really, I can't wait for a convention. My team cannot wait to hear everything. But there's so many aspects of convention that I love.
Well, so let me ask you this, and you may have just answered that question for me, but what would you say you're most excited about coming up to this year's convention?
Oh, wow. Gosh, that's a hard one, Gary. I like so many different aspects. I think, I'm excited about what he's going to unveil, but I'm also excited getting my whole team together because we're all over the world, my team. And so I'm really excited about everybody on my team that can make it. I have a lot of people coming now, and I think it's going to be really neat to see my whole team together. And so they can see how I like how the community works in the big picture, like I mentioned before. I think that's going to be really important for them. And just the knowledge is just, when you listen to David speak, since, I've been to a couple conventions now, it's just amazing what he has to say. So I like the education part of the convention a lot. I really look forward to that and what he has to say about, where the business is going and just about what's coming up in the future. I love that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, and definitely, David, when it comes to the future, he has a very clear view of where he wants to go with it. Now, we may not always know all the details, but he does like to spill the beans a little bit when it comes to conventions. And so some topics that he even talked about as much as 2 years ago are still elements and still some technology that's still not currently available, but we know he's still working towards. And so he certainly does give us a lot of good information as we go into this. What I'd love to actually see is for those of you who are on the webinar with us today as well, maybe type in, and when we get a second in a minute, we'll read through some of these, but type into us and tell us what you're most excited about about this upcoming convention. So as we come into these events, and I think you mentioned something too that I think is big, that we have our teams coming in from all over the place. It could be all over the world as well, depending on how international your team's grown. But as it grows and as we have a chance to, bring it all together, I find that one of the elements that, we always talk about the knowledge and training that they get from it, but oftentimes the best part or the things where people learn the most are in the conversations that are had in the hallways or in the evenings when we get together as teams together. It's those types of opportunities that really bring us together and get that understanding and realize that, hey, sometimes we feel like we're maybe a little bit on our own out in the middle of wherever you're located. But when we come together and we have a chance to really get that camaraderie and build that friendships, and of course, as we say, heart to heart, which of course is the theme for this event, it helps us to kind of build out those bonds that, hey, we're not in this by ourselves. There is a team here. We certainly have a chance to talk with them, but maybe in many cases, this is the first chance we'll actually get a chance to be together. And I think those are some of the key things that I always, as people are trying to decide, should I or shouldn't I? That's I of course I always say yes, but definitely those are the moments that I think there's a lot learned.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that, I think that your team explodes. There's something about convention that is so magical that your team explodes afterwards. Everybody's just so excited. And I think that's a big part of it as well. Plus, like you mentioned, I think when people get together, everybody has different gifts. And I think when they start talking to people, either cross-line or on your own team, I think they can glean a lot of different things that they maybe never thought of before that they can try with their own team. So I think that's really important what you mentioned as well.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, so let's read through a few of these. So let's see. Kathy Hutchinson said, love hearing the vision in science. I do too. I think David is very good at that. And she's attending virtually. Now that's a great point to bring up. So in-person tickets have sold out. I mean, that's very exciting that we sold out, but it also means that if you're planning on coming and don't have tickets, there's going to be some challenges, right? But virtual tickets are still available and you can still purchase them up until October 8th. And so if you're on here and you're trying to say, gosh, I really like this convention, sounds amazing, I want to be part of it, you still can be, but it might have to be virtual. But certainly you can still glean and get all the information. It's not the same as being there in person, being with everyone, but we also understand due to certain circumstances, maybe you can't make it. And that is not so everyone has different circumstances. And so depending on where you're at, maybe virtual is best for you anyway. And so, of course, we encourage you, if you haven't already got your virtual ticket, to still go out and get that. Okay, so let's see. So Esther was saying, my first convention, I want to hear and meet David. So you'll definitely get a chance to hear David. He will actually be presenting many times throughout the event on different things. And so you'll definitely get a chance to. Whether you can actually physically meet him, well, that's sometimes easier. Maybe it's not necessarily an easy thing just because so many other people are trying, but certainly don't give up. You just might be able to. I'm looking forward to hearing David speak. I think that's it's true for a lot of people. Relationships and learning as a team together, especially from CEO David Schmidt, either in person or virtually from home, making the home party and watching it with the team and prospects. So again, there's a lot of different ways you can still make this a heart-to-heart experience by inviting your team together, having watch parties all over the country. And that I think is still, I know there's a lot of people who are already doing that because they weren't able to come. And so they're getting their teams together who aren't able to go, and they're going to watch it together. And I think that is a great way of being able to still participate. Okay, Okay, so I'm new to LifeWave. Where does one buy an online ticket for convention? Easiest way to find that is on our lifewave.com and go to the events. And then on there, you can find the link to our convention, which will give you the link to our virtual tickets. So you can go there and find all that information. Okay, well, I didn't plan on spending as much time on that, but I think there's a lot of good information there. And as we, but one of the things, my favorite part of any convention that I've ever been to is when we have a chance or an opportunity to recognize those who are at the convention and really get a chance to help them feel valued for the efforts and everything that they're doing to help grow a team, to be able to help share the message that David has. David's goal or his mission is to get the patches into 1 billion homes. And he recognizes that doesn't matter what rank you're at, whether it's manager or a senior presidential director, you're doing a part of helping us get that into 1 billion homes. And we want to recognize that. We want people to feel loved, for lack of a better term. I mean, that really is what it's all about. So Mary Lou, the question that I would ask you then is, from your experience, especially coming from a field perspective, what is recognition? Why is recognition so important?
I think recognition means different things for different people. Some people love to be recognized as far as just announced like on stage, or, some people like to be recognized different ways. But I think the whole bottom line is everybody likes to be recognized in some way for their hard work. I think everybody likes to know that their hard work is paying off and that people recognize and that people are valuing that as well as themselves. And so what I love about LifeWave is that I think managers, when everybody recognizes the managers and David Schmidt does it, on stage and everything, that is the foundation, I believe, on our teams as the manager. So, sometimes I'm like, when I hear somebody say I'm just a manager, I'm like, no, you're not just a manager. Managers are the foundation of LifeWave. So if we don't have managers, we don't have any rank. It starts with the manager, and it shows that they are building their community and their business at one step at a time, right? So managers, I always recognize managers on my team a lot, because I think that shows that they're building their business quickly. They, so that's the start. But you need that building block in order to go, to help your whole team. So I love when they say, oh, just a manager. I'm like, no, you're not just a manager, you're a manager. And that's something to be proud of. And I love that LifeWave actually recognizes this rank.
I'm actually so glad you brought that up, because that is so important. That I agree with you. So I was up in Canada last week, and we had the opportunity to do some recognition. And I remember talking to someone, and they come up to me, and I was like, okay. I said, so how long have you been with LifeWave? And we're just kind of going through that. And then they're like, well, I'm just a manager. And I was like, I said, excuse me, just a manager. The manager is amazing. The fact that you have reached that foundational rank, the thing that actually all building blocks of every other rank are built upon, is important. It's valuable. You are incredibly valued. And I think that was also an opportunity where we had a chance to, and even ask people in the room, who are our customers, and a few people raised their hands, and we'd be like, understanding how much we value our customers. Yes, you might be thinking we don't value as much because you're not necessarily focusing and building a team, but we need those customers. We need people who love the products and just keep taking them because of the benefits that it's bringing to them. But understanding how important that is, that we still continue to have that volume from the team, and it continues to help support those who are wanting to build. And so every element of this is valued. And the more I think we help people understand how well they're valued, the more impact it can have. Now, there's a quote from Dale Carnegie, and I like this quote, where he says, people will work for money, but they go the extra mile for recognition, praise, and rewards. And I think that is true, that we will do so much more just to get, another quote that I heard, and I don't know who said it, I'm going to get it slightly wrong, But the concept basically is, if you offer people money, they'll kind of work for it, and it'll be so. But you offer them a T-shirt that they can't get anywhere else if they do something, and they will raise heaven and to get there, right? And so it's amazing how you could offer $100 versus a $10 T-shirt, and they will fight to get that T-shirt, because they know it's something that they'll be able to wear and be recognized for, something along those lines, right? So it is amazing. Now, the other one quote I want to share really quickly, and I actually really like this one as well, and it's from Mary Kay Ash, and I think it's a little bit you'll understand. So there are two things that people want more than sex and money, and that is recognition and praise. And when we think about kind of the things that help us to be who we are and what we value, what we find more and more people are, is they crave the recognition and praise. Now, I also came across a statistic that I was actually quite surprised with, and I was actually a little bit, I would say maybe a little frustrated with, and that is, and I believe it was 77% of all employees felt like they'd never been recognized a day at work.
Wow.
And I thought, that many people, that high a percentage of people who are coming in to work for a company, and we can actually work there for years and leave and never felt recognized. What a shame. And when it comes to the fact that we're in an amazing business, direct sales, network marketing, we have the opportunity to change that. And I think we do a good job, but of course we can always do better. So Mary Lou, one of the things I would like to ask, I almost called you Mary Kay after that Mary Kay quote, but Mary Lou, one of the things that, what would you say is maybe a moment of your in your life where you got a certain recognition that you would say really had quite an impact on you, and maybe share a little bit about that with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different aspects. I mean, recognition, I mean, I was an athlete growing up, so like that recognition was important to me. So I was always like achieving and trying to achieve certain goals throughout the athletics, and that I love, being recognized on that. But I'm one that loves trips. That's what gets me going, is the recognition on trips. And so the last one, I would say what really affected me was the Aruba trip, the one we just got back from with LifeWave.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was, I worked hard for that. And so I did see that meant a lot to me, getting that trip, because it wasn't easy to get, so it had some parameters that we really had to strive for. So when I made that one, I was really blessed to go on that trip. And then, of course, it was just an amazing event. But that was kind of the recognition that stands out right now. And then, of course, when I hit SPD, what I loved with recognition on that one was a couple of my favorite corporate people called me and congratulated me right away. So that was really fun. I thought that was a great thing to do, just to connect, as you said, like the heart to heart. Just little things like that, I think, just mean a lot. So those are just some of the little things. Growing up, I love the recognition is about sports, but then I got into now the business aspect, and being recognized on certain levels, on every level, actually, has been fun.
Yeah, and I kind of grew up with sports as well, and it was actually interesting, because I remember that when it came to I'll use football as an example. When I was on the football team, and the coaches were constantly yelling at me, "Hey, you did this wrong. You need to do this." I was like, okay, why are they always on my case? I was always it would kind of frustrate me. And I remember kind of saying to someone, once, why I wish they would just kind of back off a little bit. And that person gave me a bit of a feedback that has always stuck with me. And that is, the worst thing that can happen is they stop yelling at you, because it means they don't care about you anymore. Yeah. And I thought about that going, now, obviously we don't want to do recognition where we're screaming at people. That's not what that's what I'm saying. But when people are giving you attention and trying to help you improve and trying to help you grow, that is a form of recognition of help. It's saying, I see something in you that I want to help bring out of you and help you get to this next level, of whether it's sports or whether it's business. But I remember that thinking, and I remember also when it came to the track team, that we got to a point where our coach did kind of give up on us. Because, well, we probably weren't as serious as we needed to be. But the reality is I saw a stark difference, and my ability to be able to perform at a higher level came because there are people who cared and wanted me to, and kind of help support that. And that's one thing I love about how network marketing is built, that we're in business for ourselves, but we're never in business by ourselves. There's always someone to work with. And I know I've had a few people reach out to me and say, but the person who enrolled me doesn't work with me anymore. I don't know who to work with. And in most cases, there's always someone upline that's always willing to work with you. And because of the type of compensation plan that we have, you whether they're on your front line or whether they're on your 100th line, there's still benefit in supporting and helping those people. And so that's another element that I love about what we do. Okay. So as we, I also kind of get a feel, because this is something that had a kind of an impact on me. But when you, for the first time, had a chance, and I actually saw some of the pictures from last year, so I know you had the chance, and it could be the first time or last time, it doesn't matter. But what was it like when you actually had the chance to go to a convention and actually walk across the stage and receive a recognition for for what you were doing? What was that like?
That is such a different kind of feeling, because you dream of it. You're like, okay, I walk the stage, and so at different levels, David is very gracious, and everybody walks the stage that ranks. Like last year, I know that happened, and so, but it is very exciting. You get like, it's a kind of an overwhelming feeling sometimes, because you're like, whoa, I actually did it, because as you mentioned earlier with people being recognized, we see the potential in people, and people saw the potential in me. So I know that, and I could see their faces when I was walking, and they were excited, just as excited as I was. They were in there taking pictures. They were like the very front. There was like this little stage, but they're like literally right in front. My upline was like seriously right there filming it. And I could tell they were, just as thrilled as I was crossing the stage. And that's how I feel when my people cross the stage as well. That it's been so much to me, not only seeing their potential, but then when the other people saw my potential with this business right away, and how they encouraged me. And so I saw that as I was walking the stage, them just being right up there, fighting their way, because it was kind of crowded last year. I don't know if you remember that. It was kind of crowded. And they were like fighting their little ways so they could like take pictures of me and stuff. So that was fun. I love that.
Yeah, and that is getting those opportunities to get that recognition ourselves. It is interesting. So I actually have been working on the corporate side of this industry through almost all my career, but there was a year there where I decided I was going to try to build a team. And so I went out and I started working it. And I remember when I hit the first rank, I went to an event that they had done, and it was a smaller event. It wasn't their big convention, but it was a smaller event. And I've actually been on stage even up to this point where I would be congratulating people, maybe at the manager level as they're coming across, high-fiving, shaking hands, hugs, you know how it goes. I will say during COVID, it was fist bumping, and I did that till my knuckles bled. And then I stopped because it was just there's so much recognition. But how fun is it, when we had the opportunity? But it was amazing that even though it was a small group, and I would probably say there's maybe 350 people in the room, and they said, we want to recognize the ranks. And they said, okay. And I remember thinking, oh, no big deal. I've been involved in helping people across the stage and everything else. And but then when they said, okay, they called it the first rank, which is what I was. So that would be probably very similar to the rank of manager. And I remember going across stage, and it was like, as soon as I get there and people are cheering for me, the music's playing, and the people are on stage are high-fiving me, it was like, oh my gosh, I get it. Yes. Before, it's like, even though I thought I got it, I didn't get it, about how powerful that was, to feel loved, to feel appreciated for.
It's fun, right? It's fun. It's much, it's fun. More fun than you think. And then the first thing I'm thinking after I got off was, I got to get to the next rank before the next meeting, so that I can do that again, And so, so it was, I do understand that concept of the value in doing that. And that's why I think having the opportunity to recognize at every rank is so important. And you kind of touched on my next question I want to ask you. And that was, it's great when you get it, but what is it like for you when you get a chance to see, and I'm sure you'll get a chance to see at this convention, some of your team going across. Now it's not just about you, it's about what they're doing. Right. And that, you know what, to me, that means a lot. It means like when they're, and I now get it, like when my upline was at the front taking pictures, because I know I will be up there doing the same thing this year with a lot of my people who have, I have to give a shout out. I just love my team. I just have to give a little shout out. My team has done amazingly in ranking, especially recently. But I think just seeing them hit their goals that we set out, like I try to talk with everybody on their goals and their dreams and with their aspirations on what they want to do with this company. And when they cross that stage on every level, I know they're reaching a part of their dream, and they're going to continue reaching each part of that dream and their goals. So it's not just walking over, recognizing them, it's that they are achieving something that they set out to do. And you know that they're hitting their goals, and you can just see it on their face that they're so excited, and they know that with LifeWave they can really go as far as they want to go with it. It's just each rank is just a different level. They'll just keep ranking and ranking. But I love, especially the first time ones up there. I have a lot of people coming this year that are brand new to the ranks, and I'm excited to see and take all those pictures for them as well.
Yeah, and it is so exciting to be able to. It's one thing when it's you, but when it's like when your team is going, it's almost like your kids are going across the stage,
exactly.
and recognizing them, and it feels so good, to be able to see, hey, I was part of their experience now, and yes, we don't necessarily are the only things, but we certainly take that, that feeling of you just want to shove all the love you can towards them as they're going across the stage and everything else. And so I love that. Now, for those of you who are on the call with us or the webinar right now, I'd love it if you'd go in and just type in, if you've reached a new rank and you're going to be recognized at convention, or maybe you're not going to be at convention, but you did reach a new rank and you want to be recognized, type in what your new rank is, or what rank you maybe have ranked with just this year, or since last convention. Love to be able to see, what kind of ranks we have, new ranks that are coming in from those of you who are here. Robin, congratulations, new director. That's very exciting. So as we, and we'll have a chance to go through those more in a minute, but it is so exciting when we get a chance to take the time to recognize, and specifically when we hit new ranks, because that seems to be something that's a little bit more tangible, something we can kind of feel with that. And of course, events are a great way to do that. But what are some other things maybe that you do within your team that to help recognize those things, and that may be a little bit outside of what the stage experience?
Okay, yeah, so I recognize it all different levels, as I said, but the first thing we do, of course, we post on Telegram. We have some Telegram groups that I post right away, put their picture up and congratulate them on that. And then people can also, from my team, can congratulate them. So I think that's the first thing I do. A lot of times I'll send them a personal note. Nobody does anything like in the mail anymore, so I'm old-fashioned, I guess, but I actually send them a card or something in the mail, a personal touch with maybe a little surprise attached to it. For different ranks, and just so them know that I'm proud of them, and with their coachability and teachability, they got to where they wanted to go. And then, so I do little surprises like that once in a while, and then I also promote, as you said, outside of the box, not just for ranks. I think other things on the team to promote is also good. I do a lot of little different promotions, maybe I do one for if they have people on auto ship, if they can increase their auto ship rate, or maybe they have enrollments, like let's see who can get how many enrollments in a week. I'll have some little promotion, and then I'll do some little cute things in the mail for them as well for that. But I like competition, so I'm more of a competition type of person. So I love contests. So my team knows that I love contests. I'm always doing some type of contest or promotion, but I think it makes it fun. And I think, if you think outside the box, you could have somebody brand new and start enrolling like crazy, and they have a chance, they might not have ranked quite yet, but you have a chance to acknowledge them because of the different promotions that you're carrying out with them. And so they can all, reach different promotions and different, not just the ranking, which is important, but they have all the other promotions that I like to acknowledge as well. That helps actually build their team. If you think about it, auto ships are huge. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, the customers, and I always tell my team that I'm like, we love our brand partners, of course. I love all you guys, but but the customers are what keeps us going. Those are our volume. And so I never discount anybody that has a ton of customers. We need the customers. That's how we thrive, right? And so we can't discount anybody like that. So I do like acknowledging when they have a certain amount of enrollments and if they reorders. And maybe I'll have a contest on how many people can reactivate their team, like some of their team members that maybe fell through the crack, maybe, or things like that, that maybe they can get them reactivated to start using. Maybe some people forgot about them, or maybe they had some enough at one time and they said, oh yeah, I got to get back on those patches again, something like that. So I think every aspect of building a team like that, that's what keeps your team volume going and you moving in the right direction at all times.
I love that. It's not just about focusing on the things that we would normally think about recognizing, like rank, of course, or maybe new enrollments, but even, using it as a means to keep the team going and keeping people active in that. But also, I like how you talk about how you can even use it to kind of help reactivate people. Maybe people dropped off a little bit, to maybe help them come back. And so, and that's why I think the better we are at being able to help recognize those people in our teams, and it could be, and everyone loves recognition in different ways. They talk about the 5 love languages. There's certainly different ways in which we can do that. Now, of course, on a team experience, there's certain of those love languages we need to minimize, but others we can obviously share more and more of. But understanding that and how our team works and what's the best way to kind of help recognize those people where we'll have the greatest impact. I know for a fact that if I don't tell my wife something over a period of time and I just show up with roses, it's not going to actually be a good thing, right? Because she loves affirmations. She loves it when I tell her things more so than I give her things. So gifts are not her love language. The affirmations, the communication that's what she loves, So understanding that element of it, I know that if I've ignored her for a couple of weeks and just show up with flowers to try to make up for it, it's not going to work, So, but that's the concept, right? So understanding where they're at, but also, but because of it, people will stick around, even if they're struggling in building a team, or maybe they're going through tougher times. They stick with it because they know they're valued. They feel like they're cared, and that when we're talking about the importance of retention and helping, because there's a number, and I don't know exactly how they came up with this number, but and I've had it explained to me, but I don't remember enough to explain it. But they basically said if you could improve your retention by just 5%, and they were talking about businesses in general, but I think that would actually be the same in a network marketing team as you're growing. But if you could keep 5% more of your team that may be on their way out to stay, then you can actually increase your profits by 95% in a year. So that means that you have 5% that stayed, and so then by the second month it's 10%, and then that number keeps growing. That amount can add up to a lot of additional volume and growth in the team by being able to just retain a few people more. And so that's where, understanding the importance or the beauty of recognition and people feeling valued and wanting to be there helps with that. And I also love, it was funny because when I first said, put in your ranks so we can see where you're at, one popped up, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this could be interesting. We have one person who ranked on this thing, but of course, as soon as, after a few seconds, they just started populating, and we have a ton of new ranks. And so I want to read through a few of these. I probably get a chance to go through all of them, but we have Sheila as a new manager, Kate as a new manager, Sarah as a new manager, Michelle as a director. We have Esther, who says newbie manager. Congratulations, especially if you're a newbie. Love having you there. Kelly says, my goal is to make manager by November 5th, which is a fantastic goal. She says maybe even director. That would be amazing as well. Louise says director and senior director. So wow, two ranks in the last little while. Congratulations on that. Let's see. Elisa says manager. Robert says manager. Katie says new director. Congratulations, Katie, on that. Carol is a new manager. Dawn started LifeWave in April and made manager in August. Well done, Dawn. A few of these don't have names on them. So Veronica's new director. Patty is a manager. Debbie's a manager. Quinton says, joined 1 week ago, received the patches yesterday and on the road to manager. Love that. So there's so many more, and we'd probably, we have, I'll just read this one out, and I think this is in Spanish, but Lucia, Presidente Director, so presidential director. So well done. Huge, accomplishments of so many people. We want you to know how much we do appreciate the efforts that you're putting in, because it does make a difference. And as we go through the opportunities when we have them to be able to help recognize, taking those opportunities are so big, usually whether it's social media, whether it's private notes, and let's face it, people still love handwritten notes. Even though cursive is supposedly dead now, I don't know if that's true or not, but everyone, has their difference of opinions on that. Having a nice little handwritten note makes a difference. I was at an event, and it was with, probably 5,000 people, and our events team our director still managed to have a handwritten note in my room when I got there. Little things like that, are so helpful and so impactful when we have those opportunities. So whether it's, in a meeting like that, where there's a lot of people, or just on an individual basis, sending a handwritten note, congratulating someone or thanking them, I think is super valuable as well. So when it comes to, we've been talking about how do we help recognize in that, and you talked about a few different things, but what's something that you've received or some experience that you had from an upline that may have, that kind of meant a lot to you?
Just
maybe
actually
putting on the spot. Hopefully your upline has been really good.
Oh boy. No, there's a little, I like the little things like you mentioned, like the little things do add up. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be anything extravagant or big or anything like that. But even like I said, the phone call, I got a lot of phone calls, even ranking the SPD, and just knowing that the upline is always there. I know when I was going for that rank that they would call me and say, you can do this, you know what, you got this, even at the last hours, of course, they're like, you got this. So that is something that's not tangible, but it is something that meant a lot. So the upline, the inspiration, and that just knowing that they're there, and knowing, in the phone calls right after saying congratulations, they were up on it. They knew I was working hard for it. And so I think those are just the little things. Not, as I said, not as tangible as some people might think. Oh, I didn't get a great, huge thing, but I did get a lot of phone calls and congratulations, which meant a lot to me, because they were, being a mentor, you need to be abreast of your team, and so, you want to be able to recognize, sometimes you don't know everybody that ranks when your team's growing, and, they're like you mentioned before, like 8 levels down, 100 levels down, you might not know that they ranked a manager. So I actually ask everybody on my team, all the leaders, and I say, please let me know if if something falls through the crack, let me know if you have anybody on your team that's ranking, so I can also give them that handwritten note or give them a call or quick, because I want them to feel just as valued, that they're important to me as well. Even though they might be on my 100th or 500th level, they're still important. They're a big part of my team. I do believe that everybody's a big part of my team.
I love that. You mentioned something there too that I really like, and that is, sometimes we think the congratulations or the support happens once you hit the rank. And I actually found sometimes, depending on what goal it is I'm working towards, once I hit the goal, it's kind of like almost like a little bit of a letdown. You're kind of going, oh, okay, I got there. Now what, kind of a thing. But the exciting part, the fun part, was really the journey to get there. And it's those people who are actually part of that journey, the ones that are calling you in advance of hitting the rank, saying, you got this, I know you can do this, that are working with you and helping you and supporting you throughout that whole process. And so knowing that you have someone's got your back, and there's someone there that's supporting you and someone there that's helping you in many different ways, is just, it really is another form of recognition or support that helps you to go, hey, you know what, I'm not in this by myself. We're doing this together as a team. And really, when it comes to any kind of rank, it really does come back to kind of that team concept, that there's nothing, especially when you reach a rank like senior presidential director, there's no way you can do that by yourself. No matter how much you think, okay, I'm going to go ahead and enroll an extra, 1,000 people on my own to do this by myself. It's just not feasible, right? But when we build the team and we have that opportunity where we can all grow together, it really is amazing. And so that's the thing I really do love about network marketing, and the concepts about how what we do is we can't succeed unless we help others succeed. And so, even if that's why I think people who are only in this for themselves or try to promote themselves or make themselves look good, don't ever do very well. But it's the people who really love to support and love to help that we start to see that they can hit the high ranks, but they don't just hit it, but they stay there, And so that's
important. Yes.
Those things are really cool. Okay, so just as before we wrap up, then we might take a few questions in just a moment, but are there any other last little thoughts or things you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
One thing is, I think we have to, as a mentor for a team, I think we need to know what's going on our team. And so, like, I go in my back office all the time, and I see, and I really investigate to see how close people are to ranking. You go on that little percentage, and if they only need one more person, I call them and say, hey, you know what? You only have one more person. You can do this week. You can rank. I did that right before the deadline for convention. And so many of mine were so close. And I'm like, you guys can do this. So I would just go on. So I think just as a last thought of, go on your back office and take a look at people that are so close. You might not realize that, but all they need maybe is a phone call to get them motivated to even if they have one or two people. Some of my people astounded me, and some of them are on this call that I saw. Congratulations, because they didn't think they were going to rank in time, and they all did. And it's just because I said, you guys can do this. We still have time, But I think if you know your team and you can mentor them, and I truly, truly, like, when they hit one rank, I strategize with them pretty much like you said, Garrett, right away, and how to get to the next rank. And we strategize and we say, okay, what's comfortable for you? How can we get you there? How can I help you get you there? And so I always ask my team that, how can I help get you to the next level that you want to get to? And how fast do you want to get there? So I know how to get them there. So that's my last little thoughts on that.
Oh, I love that. And what I also love is as you were talking about, I reached out to people saying, hey, you're close, you can get there. And then right after that, Robin Wellen said, yes, you did. You're an amazing leader. So I love that the interaction that we're getting, from your team, on this Zoom as well. Because it does, it is those little things, and it's taking the time and the effort to go through your team and find out, who's close, and helping them through that. So before we go, I'm going to just do a quick look at some of our questions and see if there's any that we can answer here. Let's see. That one is a deep, kind of a trickier question. I'm not sure. So Maureen, we might try to reach out to you separate on that one because there's a lot more to it. So I think when it comes to convention, one of the questions here is how many speakers will there be? And I'll be honest with you, I don't have an exact count, but there will be a lot. So we're going to hear from some corporate leadership, but we're also going to hear from some amazing leaders, within the LifeWave family that are going to be able to share what they've done to be successful. And then we're also going to have an opportunity to hear from 3 keynote speakers that are outside of LifeWave, but are coming in. And of course, the key one with that, or the one I'm very excited about, is John C. Maxwell. I've read so many of his books. And we'll say that some of the most highlighted books that I have notes and everything in are his books. And so are there any speakers in particular that you're looking forward to?
I'm thinking John Maxwell's myself. That's what I'm looking for as well. Can't wait to hear that one.
And I will say the other two, one of them, I'm trying to remember her name off the top of my head, and I can't, but she spoke at our DSU, the Direct Sales University, earlier this year. Had a chance to listen to her. She was fantastic. And what she did, though, was to help us to understand how we can use AI in our teams to be able to help us get better, but without taking out the personal connection. And I think that is really important. And so she'll be another really good one to listen to. Okay, so what to prepare prior to Heart Convention? I'll give you a chance to maybe answer that one. What would you say are some good things to do as you're preparing for convention?
Oh goodness, it could go in any direction at this point. I could go like clothes wise, the gala. I mean, there's so many things like that. And
get your 80s clothes ready, right?
And even the mindset. Have a mindset too. Yes. You have to have a positive mindset. You have to be open. I think let's go with the mindset then on this one. You have to be open to accept, to like hear what people are saying, you know what I mean? That's how you grow and stuff like that. And so prepare wise, I think mindset and then just logistics of everything, I don't know. What do you think, Eric? That's what I'm coming up with.
Well, you mentioned a number of things there, but certainly a mindset I think is the key. When we coming into these with the mindset, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to understand and how I can improve where I'm currently at. And it doesn't matter whether you're SPD or a manager, maybe you're not even a rank yet, coming into it with that thought process of, I'm going to come out of this better than what I came to it. And I can guarantee you will if you have that mindset. If you're coming into it with they can't teach me anything attitude, well, then you're probably not going to come out with a whole lot, unfortunately. So yeah, no, I think that definitely does make a big difference, in how you're coming. And then, of course, you're right. Getting ready for the 80s welcome reception.
That's gonna be fun.
Dressed up for it, and certainly you better believe from the corporate team, we're all dressing up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I kind of grew up through the 80s, and so I kind of wish I had some of my old clothes, although they probably wouldn't fit if I did. But certainly we could have some fun with it. So yes, yeah, definitely. There's a lot to prepare for, but if your mindset isn't one of those things, that's probably one of the most important. So I'm glad you actually brought that one up for sure. Let's see. That's another big one we could take a while on. I'm going to jump down here a little bit. Okay, so the question here is, how long is the virtual convention and does it go for 3 days? And so the answer to that is the virtual convention will run on the Friday and Saturday. Those are when our general sessions are going to be run. We do have the welcome reception on the Thursday night, but the virtual convention won't be included in the virtual convention because all you'll see is people kind of dancing and having fun and eating, that kind of thing. So probably not a lot of exciting things there will be some people talking a little bit, but it'll be more or less just welcoming everyone, kind of kicking off convention and then just having fun. But yes, definitely Friday and Saturday are the 2 days that we'll have the virtual conventions will be running through. And then pretty much after each session, once they finish, you'll be able to go back and rewatch them if you want to go back and rewatch them at that time. And you'll be able to watch them for a full 30 days afterwards as well. So that'll be really good. It says, will we be able to shake hands and have photos with John Maxwell? I actually don't know the answer to that one. Now, sometimes, when they do, sometimes they don't. And so, I can't say for sure on that one. But it's hard, especially when 3,000 people, if everyone wants to shake hands with John C. Maxwell, that could take a while. So I'm gonna just probably err on the side of conservatism. Probably not, but you just never know. You might see him in the hall and get a chance to shake his hand. It says, can we plug in laptops so we don't lose battery power? I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. I mean, yes, there'll be some plugs around the room, but you'll probably be fighting it over with other people as well, for maybe people trying to charge their phones and other things. So I would probably just plan on making sure it's charged well before you get there, and hopefully they can keep going. But yes, you want to, maybe a good old fashioned notebook, pen and paper, might be a good way of taking notes as well. So certainly some great questions, with regards to, how to get prepared for convention. All right. Well, I think those are all the questions that they have for us. I certainly have enjoyed the time to be able to talk about these things with you, Mary Lou, and go through the things that I know are that you're right in the middle of. And I want to say this right now. I'm so excited when you have a chance to go on stage at this convention as a new senior presidential director, and so that's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to be there. Whether I'm on stage or not, I'll be either front of stage or somewhere we'll be celebrating. So definitely looking forward to
Thank
that
you.
and being able to have those celebration moments. Our recognition gala dinner is where we recognize our senior presidential directors. And so we'll definitely look forward to that. We'll all be dressed up and having a good time. So thank you so much for your time with us today, and we want to obviously recognize for your efforts in sharing, being willing to share not just with your team, but obviously today with all of our Lifeway family on the importance of recognition. And certainly, you shared some great tidbits and different things that we can do. So, thank you so much.
Well, you're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for this blessing.
Well, that's it for us today. Thank you all for being on with us. We will be broadcasting this one again coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And so certainly, if you have team members that you want to see this is definitely get them on tonight, and they'll be able to watch it as well. And then within about a week, it will also be on our YouTube page, where you'll be able to go in and listen to this again if you'd like to. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Mary Lou, again. And we'll look forward to catching up with everyone very soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks.